Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good day to everyone. My dear students of 4th year honors, Department of English, Noakhali Government College. I hope you are keeping well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I'd like to introduce a poem with the students of 4th year honors. A very important poem by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. You know, Robert Frost is an American poet. He is generally known as a poet of nature. He employs nature in his poetry, not only for the sake of the beauty of nature, but also for the sake of its philosophic significance. You had another poem in your first year syllabus, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. And you had there the philosophy of life according to Robert Frost. And now Robert Frost presented a very important poem which was by some people taken as a misunderstood poem. But if you take the poem very attentively, and if you take the poem and its explanations, interpretations from various corners, you will get some important aspects of life. There are some messages, there are some symbolic significances, there are some teachings in this poem. Now, first of all, my dear students, I want to make you introduced with the very title of the poem, The Road Not Taken. It can be interpreted in two ways. The road not taken. Literally, you can take that the road which the poet did not take. And another interpretation can be given, the road he has taken which other people did not take. So let us move to the poem. What he wanted to convey to his readers. The poem was published in 1916 in his collection of poems, Mountain Interval. And the central theme of the poem is the divergence of paths, both literally and figuratively. You know, and we know, human life is full of diversities and divergences, and you can say alternatives. So what comes to us? The point comes to us that which way we have to take, which path we have to take, which decision we have to make. This is a uh, very serious dilemma in a man's life, from taking decisions from many alternatives. The poet in this poem is a traveler, and the poet Robert Frost is known as a poet of symbols. He uses symbols in his poem. In this poem also, he uses symbols. He used some aspects of nature symbolically. This is a poem which reads naturally and conversationally. And his poems, some of his poems have interior monologues. What does interior monologue mean? Interior monologue means conversation within the self, conversation with the self. Sometimes we talk with ourselves, we talk with the self. This is called interior monologue. There is an interior person within every person. And this poem has also some implications of interior monologue. The poem begins as a photographic description of a quiet moment in yellow woods. Another point you have to mark in Frost's poems, woods. In most cases, the poet means the whole world with the word woods. And yellow woods means the world which is in a position of autumn. And autumn is a season which signifies maturity, which signifies experience, which signifies the last part of life, as it is the last phase of the year. The road not taken. What does it mean? Actually, the poem is an ambiguous poem. Is an ambiguous poem. It allows the readers to think about choices in life, whether to go with the mainstreams or to go it alone. If life is a journey, this poem highlights those times in life when a decision has to be made. And now come to the point, what do the two roads symbolize? The two roads symbolize the choices that one has to make in life. We have many alternatives in life, and we have to make the right choice in the right moment, in the right place. And man becomes in a position of indecisiveness. Sometimes he cannot take decision which way he has to choose. Now it is very important to make the right choice, because we can never retrace our path and we can never go back, because one road would lead on to another road. There is no coming back. So, if a person goes forward along a road, he can never think of coming back to the starting point. In the meantime, he passes a distance and he cannot come back to the same point from where he started. And symbolically, uh, the poem's journey or traveling of the traveler in the poem is a simple walk, literally, but it is not a simple walk. It metaphorically means the journey of life. And a man is always a traveler. He travels on and on, goes forward, and never he can come back to the starting point. Two things we have to mark: the journey of life and the decisions we make on that journey. The narrator in this poem chose the path, a road that was grassy and wanted weird, which demonstrates the desire many of us have for individuality and for adventure. This very traveler chose a road which was not taken by other people, so it is less traveled road, and he had at that moment an adventurous mind, and he took that road which was less traveled. The roads have a multiple significance. They are not only simply roads to travel on through the forest, but they also take on a secondary meaning or significance of a choice of life. Actually, a poem about the journey of life, it is a poem about the journey of life, and two diverged roads are ways of a person's life. And you know, the poet is doubtful at the end about his coming back, because we know the road leads but to the roads, to many roads. Road does not carry one back. So he was unsure whether he will be able to take the road that he had left. He regrets at the end of the poem he could not travel through both the roads. And there is a teaching that no man can travel by two roads at the same time. That means none can do two things or more than one thing at the same time. Again, he chose the other road because the first one was traveled by many. What does it mean? It means that he was not an ordinary man, a common man. He was an adventurous man, and he chose the road which looked uh, less followed by people. The road which he left appeared to be more fascinating for him. So, the poem Road Not Taken has the teachings which teaches about the importance of decisions in life, and the messages we get from this poem, that man comes across many situations. He has to take a decision, being with all the situations, which sometimes can be crucial. And another message is we must make the right choice by keeping in mind that opportunity knocks only once. At the end of the poem, though we see the poet is somewhat sad or regretting, he, we know, he became successful in his making choice to be a poet. He began to write poetry. He became famous. Even during his lifetime, he won many prizes, international prizes regarding literature, and he became successful. His choosing the profession was not mistaken. He was right in his choice. And the poem is very beautiful poem with a photographic description of nature, the falling of yellow leaves on the ground, and when he was in a fork, he was in a dilemma, what to do, and he was thinking of the situation, thinking of his making choices, and at last he took the less traveled road, which was right at the end. And if we go through the poem line by line, we will get that though the poem is is in a very simple language, but very heavy with thought, which is mostly related to life. And Robert Frost is not only a lover of nature, lover of outward visual nature, but also a poet of man, a poet of thought, a poet of philosophy.